A very big welcome to a special programme looking at one of the most vital services provided by the Northern Ireland Children's Hospice, and that is the Family Support Group. Now, let me introduce you to a very special, remarkable group of women. We have Sarah, Maura, Leslie and Anna. A very big welcome to you all, ladies. Thank you very much for joining us. Sarah, I'll come to you first of all. Now, you are a very busy mum. You've got 2 children. Tell us about them.
I have a little boy called Noah. He's 9 and cheeky wee chap, but just a very happy wee boy. And I have a wee daughter, Gracie, and she's 6.
So tell us a little bit about your journey as their mum and what life is like for you at the minute.
Life at the minute is very busy. I suppose my children were diagnosed maybe 6 years ago now with a progressive brain disease. So life can be a bit of a roller coaster at times. Sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down. And at the minute, just with the way things are going with Noah, he's had deterioration, so it's been really quite a busy period of time with appointments and doctors, and just his care has changed, so that brings a whole lot of challenges for him and for I.
And what is a typical day like for you, Sarah?
Crazy. Crazy. It can vary a lot of times, and it depends on how your child is on that day. If they're not feeling well, it can just be a very busy day, just looking after their needs, and a lot of the time the focus is taken off anything that would seem normal, just in looking after your children. So you could have maybe 3 different appointments at 3 different hospitals, as well as just going to a lot of therapies and, just making sure that your child has the best that they need.
And Anna, I'm sure you can identify a lot with what Sarah is saying. You're a mum of 3. Tell us of what your household's like.
Right. Well, it's fairly busy. Obviously, they're actually all at school, all mainstream school. My eldest daughter Tilly, she's just started high school this year, and Connie and Daniel are twins, and they're in P5. And so trying to get out in the mornings for the normal 9 o'clock run, as I'm sure you all find, is a nightmare. So it is an early start, a very early start in the morning, just getting everything ready to get, particularly obviously getting Connie out on time with all her bits done, as she talks about. I need my bits done.
Tell us a little bit more about Connie. She's 8.
She is. Connie was born with a rare disorder, which, big long name for it, which I'll not bore you with, but it basically meant that none of her digestive or urinary system worked. So the only option for Connie was transplants. So she had 4 organs transplanted whenever she was just 13 months old. So she's a bit of a miracle baby. There's only a handful in the UK that have had the liver, stomach, pancreas and bowel transplanted. So she's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Is she aware that she's special?
Yes. I mean, she knows. Yes, she's got things that other kids don't have, and she has to take a lot of medication, and there's certain things she can't eat or drink, and she knows that she can take on well, very quickly. But that doesn't stop her, doing all the things that she wants to do. She still goes dancing every Friday night with the other 2, and school's normal, and after school clubs, she's in the thick of it. She gets a bit frustrated that she can't do as much on the the physical side, the PE and things like that. She says, people always beat me. But no, she doesn't let it stop her at all.
Leslie, we'll come to you. You're a mum of 3 as well. Yeah. Busy house for you too. And I want to talk about Brooke, who is 16.
She was 17 in January, actually.
I want to talk about Brooke, who's 17.
Yeah.
Tell us about Brooke.
Brooke was 2 when she was diagnosed with a rare condition as well. She walked up until she was about 7, and then her mobility started to go down. She's in a wheelchair full time now. She can't talk. She's partially deaf, but she just smiles, laughs, just everything. She's just a joy to have. So she doesn't understand things, but she knows her family and her friends, and her sister is really good with her, and she's got nieces, so she has all that there. She's just a joy. So
So what's a typical day like for Brooke?
She's got a wee tube feeding now, so that's completely different compared to what she was before. She still eats a wee bit, but she's actually, everything I do for her. She can't do anything for herself. She's doesn't walk, she's in nappies, so she just can't do anything for herself at all.
And who helps you?
I do it myself, so I do. And with, I say, respite with the hospice, which is home from home. She's got another family there as well, so couldn't do it without them.
Yeah.
So I couldn't.
Maura, let's talk to you. 5 sons, my goodness me.
I know, it's busy. It's really busy.
That's very busy, very
is,
busy.
but-
And your youngest is Jack.
Yep, Jack just turned 7 there before Christmas. He keeps me on my toes, I tell you. He has us all wrapped around his wee finger. Jack is still undiagnosed, which is probably one of our biggest, I don't know what word to even say, but
Frustrations.
yeah, probably is, because you're sort of living day to day and not knowing what the actual diagnosis is. So
what how does it manifest itself, or what is life like for Jack?
well, he has global developmental delay, which is he doesn't talk, he doesn't walk, he's tube fed over 20 hours a day, so he constantly has a feeding pump attached to him with just tubes and feed drainage. He has severe scoliosis, which he had major surgery last January where they put metal rods in his back, so he's to go then every 6 months to get the rods lengthened. So he's due another one now, beginning of March. So you have all that along with, the anaesthetics, and it's hard. But do you know what? He's such a happy wee thing as well. He has got good understanding. The more he doesn't talk to you, but if I said him, put that into the wash basket, he'll go into his wheelchair, and well, he's in his wheelchair, but he'll just fly to the wash basket and put it in. So you take the good with the bad, and he's just a wee miracle.
And how do you deal with that uncertainty, not really knowing exactly what is wrong with him or what tomorrow could bring?
Well, that is the hardest part of it, and it is so difficult because the doctors have always said that Jack, before Jack was born, they said that he may not survive. So for us 7 years down the line and still no diagnosis, and he seems to be sort of writing his own medical journal at the minute, with different things. But it's hard to get your head around it, because whenever his brothers now are at an age where they're teenagers. The oldest one is going to be 20 this year, so they'll be thinking about family life and stuff as well. So having that diagnosis will be good, so that they can then plan their futures and future babies and things as well. So because it is like a genetic.
Sarah, I mean, your life seems to be changing on a daily basis at the minute. How do you cope with that?
I think at the moment, because my life has changed in such a short period of time as well, because Noah has deteriorated even from September, that brings so many different challenges with it. But I have found that you have to really rein in different types of support. I suppose one of my biggest supports would be my faith, which really helps get me through. But alongside that, meeting with the girls here, and I know Leslie has said it, but going to Horizon House Children's Hospice has just been a massive lifeline for me, because it's one of the places that I can go and feel that I can talk freely about anything and about what's going on in my day with my children. I think having that emotional support and being able to meet once a month to do that is just amazing. You can't do that with your family, your close family and friends. You don't have that outlet, because obviously living with a child that has a terminal illness impacts everybody in your whole family, your extended family, and sometimes it's the elephant in the room where people don't want to upset you and you don't want to upset them, but coming together with the ladies here. There is something very special about the bond that we have, and I feel we are a really good support for each other. You know, we've grown so much. We're not in each other's pockets outside of, but we know we have that time where we can come together and just be together and be ourselves and cry and laugh and do all sorts. But that allows us the freedom, and that really does help me as well. Obviously, of having respite with Horizon House, where my children, every time they drive past, they think it's their holiday home. So they just love it because they can do whatever they want there.
Anna, would you agree with that being the full-time care, that it's almost your respite having the support group?
Oh, it definitely is. I love coming to these coffee mornings that we have, and it's just that fact you don't have to put any front on or brave face on, and if you're not having a great day, well, you just say it, and you know, everybody can relate to that, because you're constantly trying to put the brave face on all the time. Whenever things it can be difficult at times, and you were talking earlier about the uncertainty. I think a lot of it is just accepting that you can't do anything about what's happening around you, and you have to think about yourself and keeping yourself strong. And a part of that, I think, is in meeting with the girls, you do build up a kind of strength together, and looking after number one often is the last thing you think you want to do or feel you should do. But it's
do you feel
very important.
Do you feel lonely as parents dealing with this, whether you have your spouse there or not? Is it lonely, and maybe the support group is something you can...
It definitely is lonely, because sometimes you're in the house most of the time, and you sort of you can think back to the way things were before your child was born, and the freedom you had, and I suppose for any parent that's the case. Your life does change, but at the same time you wouldn't change it for the world. But I think you can be out with other people, and but you can still feel very lonely in doing that, because you don't want to talk to them all the time about how things are going, if you get difficult times ahead of you, because they won't always know how to respond to that, and that's probably even more lonely than being at home on your own, because then you don't have to worry about anybody else, which is really what you were saying, Sarah. It's that thing that people don't want to talk about it.
Even simple things, Anna, if you wanted to go out just for a dinner or something, or go to the hairdressers, things like that. Things that
simple.
We take for granted are actually big challenges for you.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky in that Connie is at mainstream school, and she's ticking along really well, and if it happens in school hours and she's well, then that's okay. But in terms of a social life, and my husband and I be able to go out and go and do something together, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It happens whenever we go to the hospice, and the kids are looked after there, and the two of us get a chance to have a break and actually go out for a meal together, which happens. It's just fantastic, being able to do that.
Leslie, I want to talk to you a little bit more about Brooke, and obviously being totally dependent on you, and you are her world. You do everything for her. The medical challenges and the things that you have to do medically, that must be and must have been very frightening for you to have to take that responsibility.
It was at the beginning, because it's like, I think with every parent, I don't know another thing you didn't sign up for this. You don't think when you're having a child you're going to have to go through all this, and because Brooke hadn't really got much medical or condition in the sense that way, but now I think the tube feed, it was just like so scary, and I thought, I can't do this. You doubt yourself, but now it's like, it's the most easiest thing in my eyes for me. It's like nature. It's made her life so easy, it's made my life easy. If she can't drink, at least she's getting fluids into that. So I do find with each that we've had to go with each challenge we've had to go through, we've got through it. You know, it's been hard at the time, but there's always been, I think, just mentally you prepare yourself that you have to do it. You know, if you don't do
what gets you through that next challenge? What gets you through that?
I don't know, to be truthful, which is a weird answer. It's like you have to. You know, you've no other choice. You have to do it. There's nobody else there going to do it for you.
Yeah.
You know, I think you can't break. You want to break sometimes, but you just know if I break here, we know what's going to happen to the kids. So your strength, I think they give you, the kids actually give you that strength that you need.
Yeah.
When you look at them as what they've went through, and you know, they smile. They come out of Brooke comes out of an operation smiling, and I'm like, you know, that was me. So she gives me that strength, I think, to go on and just, you know, it is what it is. It has to be done, and that's it.
Maura, dealing with the medical profession, they must be almost like personal friends or members of the family now.
My diary is my Bible. Honestly, it is just appointments after appointments, and sometimes, you know, I just say I could drive up and down that motorway with my eyes closed. It's
And Jack is so young. I mean, does he see these people as just normality now, just part of his life, do you think?
Yeah, he does. He doesn't get upset, you know, unless it's a surgery or something like that, but he just goes in there, he wheels himself into the Royal, and, you know, we go to wherever it is we have to go to, and, you know, he knows he's got hypoglycemia, so he knows whenever he sees the wee needle coming, he'll give you his hand, and, you know, different wee things. But I would say he fights the battles, you know. He's the fighter, so we have to keep on top of that, you know, to make sure that he gets what he needs. And sometimes that can be, you know, so hard, because the resources now are just dwindling away right from underneath us. And, you know, if you don't have that voice, because Jack doesn't talk, so we have to talk for him and get the things that he needs. And, you know, thankfully, you know, everything he's had so far has been amazing. You know, he's had the best treatments and all as well. We can't complain. But
do you find when you're all together and you're having your coffee, that vital precious time that you have to yourselves, that you're saying, oh, you need to get this and here's where you get that, and you know,
that's constantly when our coffee mornings is like
perfect example. Last year, whenever we were at Coffee Morning, Maura, you had said to me about going on holiday, and you just happened, I don't know why you said it, but you'd mentioned about having all your feed, you know, the overnight feed stuff that Jack needs sent out to Spain, I think it was we were going to. And like my ears sort of pricked up. Oh, what's this? Because we've been on a holiday through Make-A-Wish and gone out to Disney. But I mean, we had to have so many extra suitcases just to carry all the feed that Connie needed and all the equipment that she needed. And just to hear, actually, you know, there's somebody out there who will send all that stuff out for you that you need, and you can travel a little bit lighter. I mean, it's brilliant. And I just went to so many little snippets of information. So I thought, really, you know, I didn't know that. And so it's like it's just a shared information point. I don't know, you know, it's no, it is. It's
and Sarah, with your two then, with everything medically that is going on, how do you try and have normality then? How do you try and, you know, give them a childhood?
It's very difficult. If I'm honest, it is very difficult. And I think Anna had touched on it earlier about for them, as they go through different transitions and different challenges in their life medically, things are changing. Just trying to put some normality in for them is extremely difficult. There's not an awful lot of activities or experiences that are really geared towards children who have disabilities, especially physical disabilities. I think you'd agree. It's really, really hard. Even the local parks, the majority of them are not catered towards children who have disabilities. So, you know, with our children, we're always constantly looking at the safety aspect about how to keep them safe, and it can be extremely difficult, and then that affects them because as they get older, I know with Noah, he's transitioning into wheelchair full time now, and has lost his mobility, and it's extremely difficult and upsetting for him. You know, and I think as a mummy, you can nearly deal with all the medical stuff. You can deal with so much of it, and you, like Leslie said, you have to. but when their wee hearts are breaking because they feel different, then that's the hardest part, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's right.
So normality, in a sense, you need to create your own normality, or normality
Whatever
is
that
different.
is.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
We're not sure what that is. We're still working on that. But our children and all the girls have said it. They're just amazing. They really are.
Yeah.
They're the ones that give you the strength, because you look at them, and when you're having a really bad day and you feel like, you know, you're walking through Tesco's and life is going on, and you're in the middle of your trying to figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to get through the next day, you just think about them and the challenges that they face physically, emotionally, mentally, and it really does give you the strength to get through.
Maura, I mean, having 5 boys in the house, I mean, life must go on, especially with teenagers. I mean, how do you have a family life then that doesn't 100% revolve around Jack?
Well, basically, the boys have been very good, and they have learned to adapt really quickly from such a young age. Like John, the eldest, he was only 12 whenever Jack was born. So, you know, I had spent 10 weeks in hospital before that, and then Jack was in 13 weeks after, so that was like nearly 6 months. So Dad was still working, so they learnt, you know, to sort of come in and out from school with the help of neighbours and all as well. So they've grew up with it, but you know, they don't see Jack as being different. They treat him like their wee brother. They'll carry him up the stairs if he shouts, and you know, they'll get down on the floor and they'll play with him. You know, that's the beauty of that. But they have learned to grow up so fast. They can cook, they can clean, they can be in the house on their own now. You know, it has taught them, you know, some really valuable lessons as well. Whereas I think, you know, if Jack probably hadn't have been about, I probably would be doing all that for them. So you know, so even though he has his problems, we all work together. They have all learnt to do his feeding pump regime and medications, and you know if he has a hypo, what to do, and you know. So
they've had to grow up a bit quicker than other teenagers have had to.
And they have missed out on, you know, a lot of things as well. And you know, like we school trips and stuff like that there where Jack has been in hospital, and you know, different things like that. Maybe their football training and stuff like that has had to be put to the side because maybe their dad's not there to, you know, sort of taxi them about. But they've never ever complained about it.
Yeah.
You know, they just take it for granted now that this is the life that, you know, they wouldn't change Jack. Nobody would change him. That's it's just who he is. So
some people listening to this programme today may be about to use the hospice services for the first time. Leslie, what would your advice be to them?
As a no one for the first time, it can be very daunting for a parent getting in, because I think you have mixed emotions. You're used to doing things yourself, so it's like you're handing your child over to somebody else to do it, and you're like, oh no, you know, it's my job. But the hospice is just me, as being in the hospice folks for so long. But the first time I went up, I was like, what do I do? And they're like, go and sit down. I was like, but why? They went, just go and sit down and relax. I was like, but I'm not used to this. But once you get used to it, to me, you need it. You know, the kids need it, you need it. Everybody needs that sense. The kids can go in there, you can plan, even should go and go to get your hair done. Just a wee bit more freedom. And I think they're apprehensive until they get in. It can take you a while to actually leave the kids. Some people have got to stay first. It took me nearly 3-4 years to actually leave Brooke. For one night I was like, oh no, you know, I felt guilty. And I think that's any parent's going to feel guilty, but you have to let go. But it can be very daunting, and we understand where parents are going to come from going to it. But it's a home from home. You know, it's a lifeline till everybody. You know, if I didn't have the hospice, I don't know what I'd do, to be truthful, because it's the only respite that I do get. That I can go, you know what, she's with her other parents, I can go and do what I want to do. You know, so yes, if they go up and get to know people and try not being afraid of it, you know, I think that's what they need to do.
Sarah, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I remember wasn't too long after Noah was first diagnosed, my social worker coming in, and she just mentioned the word hospice, and I remember just recoiling inside. And it was actually the word.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just the word hospice because of what that meant to me. And at that time it meant end of life care. And everything was just so raw and so new, and it was just a horrendous time. I did eventually go, hospice would do an open day for families, so families can come up, extended families can come up. Do you know, in your mind you think you're going into this really clinical place and it's going to be really, you know, you don't even really know what you're thinking, but I remember going in just thinking, this is lovely. Everybody, the one thing about hospice is everybody is just so kind. Everybody's so kind, and they have time to sit down with you. That's the biggest, like, just time, take time out. And I remember Noah going in, and my idea at the beginning was, I knew Noah's condition is life limited to teenage years, and even then the uncertainty, not knowing. And I always thought, if Noah comes to end of life care, I would like him to be somewhere where he knows people and he's friendly and, you know, he feels familiar and safe. And so we began our journey with hospice. Been there over 5 years. It did take me, I think, 4 years to actually leave him overnight.
I haven't got that far yet.
No, it's a journey. It's a real journey, and now it is a lifeline for us. My children, both Noah and Gracie, go to hospice. They go overnight. And I think when it really was okay for me was when they said, are you still here? You can go now, Mummy. And they just love it. They love it. I would say to parents, it's the word and what that means. But really go and speak to some of the girls and get a real feel and experience of it. It's just such an amazing place of support for me and my family. And also for my children, because they do love it. Yeah.
We started this programme off by introducing 4 very remarkable women, and I must add, very brave, very courageous women. And you know what? Just downright fantastic mummies.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ladies, thank you very much for sharing with us today, and thank you very much for listening.